Rory Stewart was grilled on LBC by a furious listener who asked him why he didn't abstain from voting against a no-deal Brexit, stopping Prime Minister Boris Johnson from continuing his pledge to leave the EU on the 31st of October with or without a deal. The Tory rebel stumbled as a previous fan of his asked why he didn't do the honourable thing and vote in accordance with the Conservative Party since Mr Stewart lost in the Tory leadership race to Mr Johnson. It comes as Mr Stewart has his Tory whip withdrawal along with 20 other rebel MPs who voted against Mr Johnson. The vote to block a no-deal Brexit forces Mr Johnson to request a 3-month extension of Article 50 from the EU if he doesn't have a deal by the 17th of October. However, the Prime Minister has said he won't do this. Speaking on LBC, Clive said, "I want to know why you think it is appropriate to vote against the man who was elected by the members of the party that you were a member of. You ran against him, you lost. It seems that the honourable thing to have done would be to abstain, not to vote against him. There seems to be a habit these days where people participating in democracy and then when they don't like the answers they get they turn around and try to undermine the result. I'm afraid having been a fan that's kind of how I see the way you've acted against Boris Johnson." Mr Stewart responded, "I think that's a very good question from people I've had in my own constituency. The way I feel about it is I had said consistently all the way through when I was trying to get a Brexit deal, when I was trying to get a deal through. A deal which Jacob Rees-Mogg, Boris Johnson and Dominic Raab voted against, which was the Brexit deal of my Prime Minister, Theresa May. The Brexit deal was in accordance with my Conservative manifesto that included an orderly exit from the EU, and I said a no-deal Brexit wouldn't be that. I was clear for the last 2 years that I would never vote for a no-deal Brexit." Clive added, "The honourable thing to have done would have been to abstain. I've been a council member. I've sat in chambers. You didn't have to vote against him. And don't try and deflect by bringing up what he did afterwards. You caused that." In the show, Mr Stewart added it's unlikely he will stand for the Conservative Party again in a general election and would like to stand as an independent. It comes as Mr Johnson has attempted to call 2 snap general elections in the past 2 weeks which opposition parties have rejected. Taking aim at Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, he said it's the first time in history an opposition party has refused the chance to take on the government in the polls. However, Emily Thornberry said they turned down the offer because they don't trust Mr Johnson. Labour hope to have a general election following the block of no-deal Brexit.